Hello everyone, how are you doing today? This is my first time back for quite a while. I've been really busy with the ground and pound side of campaigning, doing a lot of door knocking, fundraisers, some really good things that we have in the works. And today we have another really special guest that I am so excited to have join us and to talk with myself and with you guys about some modern issues and about his experience. So I believe Topher is going to be joining us in just a moment. 1 second. I think I see him entering the room right now. There he is. All right, and once I get that request, we'll get him in here. And like I said, I'm really sorry that I have been a little bit absent for a while. I have not forgotten about you guys. I tried to stay active, but only 24 hours in a day. You know how it goes, and we're getting down to crunch time. So with that, let's get Topher Town Music in here. There we go. Topher, how's it going?
What's going on, man? How you doing, Luke?
All right. So everybody, Topher is a Billboard artist, an Air Force veteran, which is near and dear to my heart. Love it, brother. Big Blue. And an outspoken political commentator and social leader on Instagram and TikTok. How's it going, man? Tell us, what are you up to today?
Well, being Atlanta, that's always a chore. Actually, I was just making a post about the governor in Montana who it just came out, Steve Bullock, that he was a big gender pay gap guy, and he was like, we need to make it equal. And he's turned around and said, or at least has not proven it by paying his women staffers less than his male staffers since his tenure started in 2013. And you know what their reasons were? Experiences, length of time and service. I said, all of the things that we said were not accounted for in the gender pay gap myth in the beginning.
Yes.
Got you. Okay. All right.
Right.
I love to see it. That's all.
Amazing. And so that's, and for anyone who doesn't know what he's talking about there, the gender pay gap is a myth that has been debunked multiple times because it's based on a study from decades ago, actually, which doesn't factor in aspects like how many hours do you work on a salary job, how dangerous is your salary job, what type of job are you majoring in, studying for in college, and then what type of job are you attaining. These are all very relevant factors that factor into pay. The only factor that was factored into that study was gender, not anything else that is a complicating element of that whole equation. So I think right on. So what you're saying now is there's a lot of hypocrisy in how it was treated, how the situation was treated. So with that in mind, tell us your story. That's how I always love to start off these chats with other young leaders, other influencers. And what I like to say is people who aren't supposed to exist. I'm a mixed ethnic young individual. I'm a conservative. I'm not supposed to exist. You're a black, outspoken conservative. You're not supposed to exist. Tell us why you exist. Why do you do what you do?
Well, it's almost the same thing with the gender pay theory. It's like once you put it into reality, you realize something doesn't work. And the more I looked into why we voted Democrat and things like that, and the history behind the parties, and I just started to realize it was like, wait a minute, there's no absolute reason why we should be Democrat at all. Like, if anything, we need to be Republican, if not leaning toward the center or third party. But there's absolutely no reason we're predominantly voting Democrat, right? Unless you want to go back to when the KKK forced us to vote Democrat during the Reconstruction era, so they wouldn't keep the Republicans.
Just for survival, then, right? Then it's like, well, right.
I feel like that's kind of how we're still voting, except it's a more of a mental survival than it is a physical survival. But we just haven't awoken to that revelation yet.
Yes.
But no, I'm from Mississippi. I currently stay in Mississippi as well. I did 6 years active duty Air Force, for which I served as a cryptologic language analyst. I worked for NSA, and I was stationed in Fort Gordon for about 5 years. And after that, well, I've always done music. But during that time, I kind of got back heavy into music, and I was like, man, I really want to do this kind of like full time. So I was like, I can't really do that being, locked up in the skiff every day. Well, I can't have my phone on me and all that stuff. So I was like, I got to get out the military. Everyone was like, oh, no, don't get out the military. I've always been a person to trust my gut. I don't know.
Yes.
I just always been that person. It's like, because at the end of the day, it's between me and God. And if God,
that's right.
He don't care what your situation is. If he tells you to leave, he wants you to leave and do what he wants you to do. So I was like, you know what? this is within my gifts. I feel like this is within my purpose. So I'm gonna be obedient and see what happens. And since then, man, I have flourished. I have not one day, lived without a roof over my head, a clothes on my back, or food on my table. So I am forever grateful for that decision. But after that, man, I've been, started music, and then we moved back to Mississippi, and then I just finished my job with a digital marketing company, and I quit that because now I can do content creation full time.
Yeah.
But I started back on TikTok in November last year, 2019. I didn't start posting political content until 2019. I mean, not 2019, but
2020.
December 2019.
Okay, gotcha.
So right around the New Year.
So you eased into it. You got navigated the landscape and then got into the real war zone.
Yeah, because I kind of I had to do my scouting, right? I had to kind of feel myself around, and to be honest, it's just something that you didn't want to do. Just come out and be vocal if you were not aligned with the majority, right? So I didn't want,
especially in entertainment, right? So your experience in music, that's kind of a death sentence for you. And traditionally speaking, I think there are great people who will support you, but most people view it as like, oh, you can't be outspoken on a conservative side as an entertainer.
Right. No, entertainer, a black person, or anybody, period, right?
Yeah.
They don't want anything that I got going for myself. I should not be outspoken about it. And I just find it, sad that we can express all kind of things. We can express death, killing people, selling drugs, prostitution, single mother household, sleeping around, all that. But it's
all good. It's all accepted.
it's all good. But as Kanye said, as soon as I talk about God, my records won't get played.
That's right.
That's insane, And
I love that tweet by Kanye. He says the left, they think that I'm crazy for crying about the thought of aborting my daughter, and yet they're saying that I am the one who's out of touch, and he's getting emotional about something that was almost the biggest mistake he ever made in his life. It's like that's how true is that? You can't get more real than that.
Yeah, that's why I like Kanye, man. He's running for president now. I don't, it's still that I don't understand the sincerity of it all, just because of the birthday party name. But he is registered officially with Utah. And it's just interesting to me to see him run. Like, I know he said he was going to run for 2024. I never expected 2020.
Right.
But I guess you can never be too late. I mean, too early. So I said, hey, at least you can know I'll be back 2024 just to get my name out there. And this is what a true test is going to come in. Everyone is like, Biden's racist. Okay, where's Kanye? If Trump's racist, where's Kanye? Are you going to vote for Kanye? No, I ain't vote for Kanye because vote for Kanye is vote for Trump. I'm like, I don't know if you ever voted before, but whoever you vote for, who is the person that gets your vote. So
and there's always an excuse with the radicals. I think there's always an excuse where, Biden comes out and says something racist, and it's like, oh, well, he meant this, or Biden always says silly things, but Trump's the actual racist. There's always this qualifier, that a way to get away with it. And well, sure, Kanye is black, but he doesn't count because of this or because of that. There's always some reason, some paper thin line of thinking, right?
Yeah, it's crazy to me, man, and I hate it. I hate to see it, but all I can do is educate, every person I touch. And I've gotten many messages from minorities saying that they not only have been emboldened,
I love it,
about their beliefs, but they also have been red pilled. So, it's one thing to be red pilled and one thing to come out and say,
yeah, that's right, that's right. So what was your moment or your final reason that made you realize? You said from November to December you didn't post political content, and I would assume before then you had thought through things in your head privately. What brought you to the point where in your personal life you had accepted what you believe, and then you were willing to share that with other people publicly? Because those are two big steps.
Yeah, so actually I've never identified as a conservative, I will say. I did not know what that was. I just always knew my values, my morals, what I stood on. So early on in my military career, I had to say about when I was 22, 23, I had me work for NSA, I worked a lot of joint missions, so I was around different branches. And I had this one Army guy by the name of Specialist Melton. He was an atheist, so I was a Christian, but really cool guy. And we would have these very intellectual arguments and conversations about things, and he would always bring it to me. So I remember the word in the Bible where it says, when someone questions your faith, you got to have something, You gotta have a
Always
reason.
be prepared to give a reason for the hope. That's right. That's right.
So I was like, so I got to start doing it. So I got big in Christian apologetics with, Ravi Zacharias and all those people. And just
Rest in peace,
understanding
Ravi. How
the
much do we
GOAT.
miss him in a time like this, right? But
Right.
sorry, continue.
just looking at those people, and I really appreciated the calm demeanor he had when he presented information, no matter
Yes.
how controversial it was. But he presented it in a way that even if you didn't agree, you didn't take offense.
Yes.
And so I try to do that with the information I provide. It's like, I'm not going to call you out your name, things like that. I'm just going to present the information. If it offends you, that's between you and the truth. That's not between me and you.
I'm not being offensive. I'm not going to be calling you names. It's up to you if you get offended.
Right. So
I love it. Yeah.
So I did. So I tried to come out and speak on certain topics throughout that time. And then my family quickly came out and said, shut up. What are you doing? So I kind of retreated back in the closet, right? I was like, look, I just want peace. I want harmony. And I tried again one more time. Same thing happened. So I just retreated back into my closet until, by December. And I finally realized, I was like, man, if I die, God's not going to ask me. The only thing he's going to worry about is, did you fulfill my purpose? Did you do what I told you to do? And I was like, I don't want to be on my deathbed and just like, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have spoken up. And to see that my child has to grow up in this country. And it may or may not be the country I grew up in. It's already not the same country I grew up in. Because I told people, when I was growing up, man, doors were open. People didn't call for, they came over. We didn't have school shootings like that. We didn't have all this craziness and stuff going on. It was very peaceful. The world was cool. Now my daughter, we have to worry about, human trafficking is an all-time high, all these things going on that, she has to be worried about. And I'm just like, look, I got to do something as a father figure, not just really a black person or anything else, but as a father. I got to try to get this country back on track for a safe place, to get into a position where it's safe again for her. And those two type of convictions just kind of drove me over the edge. And one thing also hit me too. It's like, look, I served in the military for 6 years, gave my life to defend the Constitution from domestic and foreign enemies. My thing is this: if I did that for them, why can't I do the same thing for myself, for my beliefs? So that's when I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and die. Right? Terry Cruz recently came out and said, I'm gonna die on this hill. So this is one of the things I decided to do. I said, look, I'm gonna stand for my right to speak. I'm defend those people who can't defend themselves, like babies and stuff like that. They can't defend themselves. But I'm gonna be the one out here advocating for them, and hopefully we can get to a better place.
I love it. I mean, I think that's a beautiful standard, and it's a very American idea that if you can do something, you should do something. So you see wrong being done, and the question is, okay, are you just going to stand by and let it happen, or are you going to step up, even if it's at personal sacrifice to yourself, and do something about it? And in my own way, I think that's exactly why I came to where I am as well. I saw Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who I think is just terrible. And she's a young leader who the left has influencing the world now. And I said, I think that she's doing awful things. I think that she's misinformed, and yet I'm not doing anything about it. And I could do something about it. That's why I'm running. And I think that's why you're an influencer now. That's why you're outspoken. That's amazing. Yeah. And Terry Crews, Terry Crews has really, he's been blasted by the left, but he's also got a lot of support from, that Don Lemon interview where he was interrupted every 5 seconds, just for speaking truth, just for saying that he cares about all black lives and not just black lives who are taken by white cops, which shouldn't be controversial. I don't think. No,
it should be, right? But it is. And I made a song called, Cruz because of him, because he inspired me. And one of the things I want to do as an artist is, I was like, what we got to do is take back the culture. The culture is leading the charge, and right now it's literally overran by leftists and just evil, period, right? So we got to bring back some morals and values back to it. And one of the things I said as an influencer, conservative influencer, I want to try to help those that come out and stand on their hill as well, or align with our beliefs, because they get blacklisted and the mob mentality, the mob comes out to them and everything. So what I want to do is show them support so they can continue to stay there and continue to fight for what they truly believe in. And when Terry Crews came out and did all that, I was like, man, Jordan Lucas just dropped a song called Will. I feel like Will Smith, whatever. And
Yep.
Will Smith, you know, they met and they did the whole thing. I was like, man, I feel like Terry Crews. So I made the song. And then recently he just used the song in a video, which I thought was amazing. I didn't expect him to do it.
Terry used your song.
Terry Crews
That's
used my song, man.
yeah. Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. It was funny too because it wasn't just a regular video, it was a statement. Because recently, last week, Rick Ross released a song called Pen to the Cross. And in that, he called Terry Crews a coon that has been bought out. So racial slur and just called him names. So when he used my song, he said he was pinned to the floss in reference to the cross, but he said I'm pinned to the floss. And so he was flossing, looking all dapper.
Good,
Like,
good.
I'm willing to die on the hill, Terry Crews, and he walked off. I'm like, oh man,
Okay, okay.
this is
Hey,
awesome.
Terry Crews is a good looking man too. So if he's pinned to the floss, okay, that's what I'm talking about, dude. See how terrible though is it that anybody who disagrees with the mainstream narrative, anyone who even talks about other possibilities out there, is treated like a sellout, treated like, okay, you're no longer part of our ethnic group or part of our class, you know, our identity. You get rejected, and they don't want to talk. They don't want to have civil conversations and compare ideas. They just want to shut you up and cut you off. So on that topic, I guess, what would you say are some of the biggest threats that, and all right, I just got a low battery warning. What would you say are some of the biggest threats that America is facing today, and how are we combating them? You talked a little bit about social life and culture.
So the biggest threats to me personally is not to our freedom, but just to our people, period, like babies. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my number one issue. It's like, I don't want
abortion.
to see, abortion. I don't want to see babies murdered. I'm going to say what it is. It's not, you know, anything else but murder. There's other choices. The parents, even when you look at the studies, right, they like to say, well, you know, what about rape? What about this? I'm like, that's all less than 5% of all the.
It's less than like 2%. Yeah.
So even 2%, if you want to get really specific. But I'm just like, even in rape, right? So what about with a woman's rape? I'm like, still, because name me another crime where the father or mother commits the crime and the child pays for it. Name me one.
Yeah.
Name me one. No one can name me one. So it's like, so why are we punishing the child here? So we got to keep that consistent logic across things. And so, but things like that, man, fighting for the unborn, fighting for the innocent, and of course, you know, social justice and reform, police reform, I'm all for, right? I'm not for defunding police. That's horrible. Matter of fact, we need more police officers. I mean, that's why Chicago's been overrun by gangs, because they have like hundreds of thousands of gang members and like 1,000 cops. Like, there's no way they're going to get that under control. So
and this is why minority communities were targeted in the first place by mass crime, because back in the Jim Crow era, minorities were told, we're not even sending police to you. We're not even going to police and keep you in and keep your community safe. You're on your own. So the way that they were punished back when there was legal racism was with no cops, no police, no law enforcement. And now we're saying, okay, we want to go back to that. That's the answer. It's like, that's what created the problems in the first place. That's what created the terrible lifestyle that people are now trying to claw their way out of.
Yeah, story just real quick, man. My mom, when I was a kid, and you know how you kind of see the remnants of what's going on in policies. Yeah. And when I was a kid, I had to be a teenager, or at least 12, 13, something like that. But my mom was dating this guy, and you know, he was a drunk, and she was kind of like a drunk too. But they ended up getting into a whole fight, and then he hit her in the face with a 2x4. So her chin was bleeding and everything. Of course, me being a teenage boy or whatever, like, that's my mama. You know, so
good.
I really couldn't do much, but you know, you feel the anger and you understand. But we called the police, took them an hour to respond to even get there. So just looking at that, like you just said before, I saw how slow they were to respond to a situation that I thought was dire, because you never know what could happen. But those reasons, and they didn't even stay an hour away. Like, it's like, dude, you're like 15 minutes down the road. Like, why did it take y'all an hour to get over here?
Yeah, amazing. No, I mean, that is what people want to bring us back to. And I think it's really unfortunate that we see so many people buying into those lies when the same people who used to tell us, and by used to tell us, I mean like last year, recently, they said, you don't need guns. You don't need the Second Amendment because law enforcement has guns. Why do you need these high-powered weapons? And now they're saying, we'll take those and we'll take your law enforcement. And then on the topic of abortion, people love to forget, that the media loves to forget, abortion was started as Black genocide. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It was very clear that is what Margaret Sanger wanted. That's what Planned Parenthood wanted. And that is what they are still driving for, is to control minority populations. And the sad part is they've been largely successful. Upwards of 40% of Black babies have been killed. That means that the 13% population that we have today should be around 24%, but it's not, because we've killed all of them. And it's like, we can't get around that. So what do? We try and sweep it under the rug. We try and ignore it as much as we can. And I think people like you and me, we've got to keep getting these messages out there, because this is literally people's lives, through law enforcement, through crime, through abortion, that are being affected.
And just to piggyback off that, man, when I talk to people about, they say it's the woman's choice, I say I get it. But most of the time when I'm talking to people, I'm talking to the men, because I'm a man. It's like, look, man, we got to practice being abstinent, or at least get married. Because I think like 80%, 70-80% of abortions come from unmarried women. Yeah. So we can cut back on a lot of those abortions simply by marrying the mother of our children. So and make sure we're in a committed relationship before we have a child. So these are things that we can do without government interference. So I'm always for, like, what can we do as a community without having to go to the government and
petition, exactly. Right? Yeah.
So,
yeah, because is the government stopping you from marrying the woman who you impregnated, or are you stopping you? That's the question. Like, who is ultimately the shot caller in your personal life? And for me, it's me, and for you, it's you, and for everyone out there, it's the guy or the girl in the mirror. That's who's responsible. Are there outside forces? Yes, of course there are outside forces. But number one, the one thing that you can always blame, that you can always look to as the cause, is yourself, because that's the only thing you have entire control over. You don't have entire control over anything else in the world except for yourself.
Except for yourself. This is why I like Larry Elder's story. I don't know, you know Larry Elder, right? He always tell the story about his pops. It's like, man, my pops used to, he had to work. He couldn't find a job, so he moved somewhere. And even though they didn't really want to hire him, he stayed around the employment office like day and night.
It's like, I'm going to work here. I want this.
I'm going to give me a job, right? So many people ain't willing to go that far. It may be, there may be a burden aspect to it. There may be something, some complexities, but at the end of the day, you still got to do what you need to do, right? So get it done, and then you can go on and show how successful you can be. A lot of people talk about how, even if I'm successful, and I won't put it like that, but I hate when they discredit successful Black people or minorities by saying that we escaped or we were the exception. It's like, really? So they just allowed us to be successful. So I just woke up one day and was like, oh, well, we need one Black person to show that we're not.
And you got lucky. They picked you.
Just pick me and rose me to the top.
How offensive, though, man. Like, how offensive. That's people saying you didn't do anything. You didn't find success. And this is like, I forget his name. I actually did a video review of him on my Instagram channel. There's a successful Black radio personality who was on the radio,
David,
and the woman calls in and says, "It's because of your white privilege." And he goes, I hate to tell you this, but I'm Black. And it's that idea that you were just talking about, where it's, you didn't achieve anything. There's no way that you achieved that. It's because of this, or it's because of that. No, he achieved it. And by the way, it was on the radio and you didn't know it. Now you look like a fool. He's Black. He's Black, and he achieved it because he's a hard worker.
Yeah. So, and then I love that interview. I actually did a TikTok to that, and everyone loved that one. So I did that one a lot. But yeah, because, you just listen to it, like the scorn she had, and just disbelief that this guy was just, infamous radio personality, and he was a Black guy. And she was like, I'm sorry, well, my team told me different. She did not hesitate to throw a team under the bus.
I know. The first go-to was like, my team gave me the wrong information. And there was no willingness, though, to analyze, hey, maybe the method that I took or the thought pattern that I used to get to this point was mistaken. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's not that my team gave me the wrong info. She just looked at the surface level. Oh, my team told me you were white. My bad.
Right.
That's not enough. That's not the problem. The problem is that you assumed he had to be white, and you believed that, and that his success had to be because he was white.
Right. A lot of people, just why people put like this. They talk about systemic oppression in America. I was like, how, guys? We don't have systemic oppression. So yes, we do, or what? I said, man, there's 8% of millionaires in America are Black. Let's put it that. You know how many millionaires are there in America? 11 million. So that means there are millions of black millionaires. You know how many hate crimes we have in America? I don't know, probably can count on your hand, but it's nowhere near the millions. So even if you believe racism is alive and well and running rampant, but it's very few less numbers, then again, we have these millions of millionaires and you still don't believe that we're not oppressed. It's crazy to me how they use that double standard and that logic, man. It baffles me.
It's the drastic bait and switch of taking successful people, taking free people, and telling them you're oppressed. You're not free. You think you're free. You're oppressed. You're not successful. You think you're successful. You're actually oppressed. And it's this crazy type of lie that people actually latch onto. So I'm going to have to go in a few minutes here, but the last thing I want to ask you about is identity politics and what I would call putting people in boxes. And the way I would say it is, I think that the media and radical elitists in power and government, they want to put us in boxes. Here's a gay guy. That's who he is. Nothing else. We don't need anything else. That's it. Gay guy, Hispanic guy, black guy, white guy. And once they put us in boxes, they can control us easier. They can turn us against each other easier. And they can tell us how we should act based on that box. It's like you're a robot in that box. What are your thoughts on that, and how can we combat that?
We combat it by being more than we are. People always tell me all the time, like, I gotta vote a certain way, or we're family because we're black. I'm like, we're not family. What I consider family are people that share the same values as me. And so just because we got the same blood in my vein don't mean that we're family. I don't consider that. And so what identity politics is, they create a surface level, shallow title or category for you to be put into, and they can manipulate that at will, right? My thing is, I'm more than just being black. I'm a veteran. I'm a father. I'm middle class. I'm anti-abortion. I'm a Christian. I'm this and that. So I'm all these other elements, but they want me to vote specifically on just my skin color. I said, I'm leaving you with this, Luke. I said, I don't want to be known for the things I can't control. I can't control being black. God made me black. He blessed me being black. So I'm not going to vote on something that I can't control. I will vote on something that I can control, which was my ability to join the military, which was my ability to be a father, which was my ability to do all these other things. Those are the things that I care and hold dear to me. I'm not going to hold dear to the fact that I'm short. There's nothing I can do about that. Why? I'm not going to put those priorities on the things that I can choose to do. So that's why I encourage people to do is look at the things, look at who you are. Don't let anybody shine you into putting you into the box, the gay category, or whatever, LGBTQ, disabled, ableist, whatever. All those people, just get out the box and show people that you are more than just that.
I love that. And that's exactly right, because whether you and I are both Christians, but whether you're a Christian or an atheist who believes in evolution, either way, these are things that the Christian would say are gifts from God. Our ethnicity, our what we look like, our age, our gender, these are gifts from God. If you're an evolutionist, you'd say that these are from nature. And either way, the message is the same, which is we don't choose them. They are given to us. So we shouldn't judge each other based on them. And we also shouldn't identify based only on them, because they're not our choice. What I do choose is my thoughts. I do choose my actions. I do choose my beliefs. Those are things that we can judge people based on because that's who they chose to be, and things that we can identify with because we built those with our own being and with the people who we love around us. So I completely agree, man. Where can people reach you to hear more about what you have to say? TikTok, Instagram, give us the whole breakdown here.
Yeah, man. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch. If you're on Twitch, YouTube, Topher Town Music. You can find all my content there. I'm pretty big, or at least more active on TikTok and Instagram. Twitter, I'm okay. But yeah, just find me on those platforms, and I'll be happy to try to share knowledge with you guys.
He's being humble. I'm going to tell you guys right now, he's lighting it up on TikTok. You absolutely are. So you're a little more active there. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. Go check him out, guys. Topher, dude, thank you so much for joining, for speaking with the people and sharing these messages, for having the guts to do that. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Hey, thank you for the invite, man. And hey, let's try to get that seat coming up, right?
That's right. PA18. Check out negron2020.com, and we'll all be in touch. Take it easy, guys. See you, man.
Peace, man.